Welcome to the lesson on outliers. An outlier is an extreme value that sits away from the rest of the data points. It is important to check for the presence of outliers, as the outlier can impact the results obtained. Outliers can be particularly problematic in small samples. In the graph, the outlier is in the bottom right corner and the other data points are clustered close together in the top left-hand corner. The Pearson's correlation result, including the outlier, is a strong negative relationship. However, we should consider what might happen if we remove the outlier. After removing the outlier, the result changed to a non-significant relationship. This example demonstrates how one extreme value can have a substantial impact on the results obtained. As a researcher, we would not want to report the results with the outlier, as the presence of the outlier has created an artificially significant result. Instead, we would remove the outlier and report the results with the outlier excluded. An outlier can also impact the results of a large sample. In the graph, the outlier is in the bottom right corner and the other data points are spread out from the bottom left to the top right. The results, including the outlier, is a strong positive relationship with 41% of variance explained. However, we should consider what might happen if we remove the outlier. After removing the outlier, the correlation is still a significant, strong positive relationship. However, the proportion of variance explained has increased substantially to 79%. This is almost double the amount of variance that is explained when compared to the results with the outlier included. This example also demonstrates how one extreme value can have a substantial impact on the results obtained, even when there is a large sample. As a researcher, we would not want to report the results with the outlier because the presence of the outlier has artificially weakened the strength of the significant result. Instead, we would remove the outlier and report the results without the outlier included. In very large samples, an outlier may have minimal impact on the results. Consider the following example where 100 participants were recruited and their scores are plotted in the scatterplot. The outlier is in the bottom right-hand corner and the other data points are scattered a moderate distance around the line of best fit. The results, including the outlier, is a moderate positive relationship with 19% of variance explained. After removing the outlier, the result still reflects a moderate positive relationship with 24% of the variance explained. In this case, the correlation coefficient and the proportion of variance explained has only increased slightly. Therefore, we can conclude that the outlier has a minimal impact on the results. This example demonstrates how one extreme value can have minimal impact on the results, especially when the sample size is very large. As a researcher, we would always check for the presence of outliers irrespective of the sample size. If an outlier is identified, we would run the Pearson's correlation with and without the outlier and compare the results. We would report the result without the outlier if the outlier is having a substantial impact on the results, similar to the first two examples. However, we would report the results with the outlier included if the outlier is having a minimal impact on the results, such as in the last example. This concludes the video on outliers.